Have you ever thought about being a slave? A slave? Well, my wife says she's been one for a long time. Probably a lot of you girls saying the exact same thing right now. Good morning, girls and guys and girls. September 2nd, 1 Corinthians 7:23. You were all bought at a great price, so do not become slaves of people. You were all bought at a great price, so do not become slaves of people. Actually, in Corinthians, if I remember correctly, that situation there was a period of time where they were having a great famine, and a lot of the children of Israel had a hard time getting by, and they had to actually sell their property for food to be able to eat. And when they ran out of their property and everything left to sell, they sold themselves. And they sold themselves to other Israelites. In other words, they sold themselves to other people of their own blood, and they became slaves by their own volition and by their own choosing. And of course, that's something that God didn't want them to be. All right, let me see what I wrote about that. My friend Greg Broom probably has cooked more fish than anyone I know. He sells a fish batter mix, and he cooks samples at every bass shop opening or event. And you know, I've emceed the opening for, I guess, just about every Bass Pro Shop store in the nation, with the exception of a couple. It was a conflict in the schedule. I guess that Greg has fried literally tons of fish. We recently were talking about the Passion of the Christ DVD selling over 4 million copies in one day. Over 4 million copies in one day. That's amazing. Greg said that it's even more amazing was that anyone would go through all that pain and suffering for Greg Broom and for Jimmy Houston. But Jesus did. Realizing that should make us really want to please Him in all aspects of our lives. The things of this world, the sins of this world, the people of this world. They have no ownership on born-again Christians. We were bought and paid for with a price. We belong to Jesus. We belong to God. We can't be a slave to the sins of this world. We can't be a slave to the things of this world nor the people of this world. Let's live like it. The price of our sins has been paid in full. It's pretty good. I like that. That's a good one. That's a good one right there. Live like we're free, because by golly, we've been bought with a price. Here's our tip for the day. The more erratic you work your bait, the better. The more erratic you work your bait, the better. And you know, in reality, this goes for pretty much any type bait you're fishing. You know, we've talked about many times, and I'm sure that some of y'all that don't even fish have got this drilled into your mind to use an erratic retrieve on a crankbait. Stop and go. Don't just throw it out there and crank it in. Throw it out there, crank fast, crank slow, crank medium, stop, start, stop, start. Erratic. Make that bait stop and do a lot of different things. But it works for a spinnerbait, it works for a plastic worm, works for a jig, it works on a swim bait, it works for just about every type bait that you want to throw. Topwater bait, it doesn't make any difference. The more erratic you work your bait, the more fish you're going to catch, the more bites you're going to get. And we all fall into the habit, and we really have to watch this if we're out there tournament fishing, of just chunking and winding, particularly if we're not getting bites. And we just get in the habit of we stop doing that erratic retrieve. We stop slowing down and speeding up. We stop making that baits do various things. We just throw it out, wind it in, throw it out, wind it in. Remember, the more erratic you move your bait, the more bites you're going to get. Hey guys and girls, go out there and have you a great one today. And remember, I love you.